Hello everyone, my name is Quinn Knight and welcome back to How to Not Suck at Star Wars Battlefront 2. Today we'll be covering Lando Calrissian, the conniving con man we all know and love. First we'll cover the basics, Lando's health, movement, and abilities, and then move on to the best strategies and loadouts that you guys can use to dominate the battlefront. Lando starts out with 650 HP, which is on the lower end of the light side heroes, but can be upgraded through the use of star cards, which we will be discussing a little bit later on. Lando moves around at a very quick pace, and his combat role is extremely effective for escaping enemy villains. I've found that Lando is particularly effective at using his combat role to dodge any incoming lightsaber attacks. Other heroes like Han become stun locked and unable to escape once attacked, but Lando can easily combat roll away from even the fastest villains. Lando also has a standard jump, nothing too fancy, but can be combined with the combat roll to make some very quick getaways. Lando has three abilities like all other heroes: Smoke Grenade, Sharp Shot, and Disabler. Lando's Smoke Grenade is exactly like it sounds, it's just a smoke grenade, intended to be paired with your blaster's thermal scope. His Smoke Grenade is extremely useful in modes like Galactic Assault, as you can just throw down your Smoke Grenade to completely obscure your enemy's view and pick them off using your thermal. In Heroes vs Villains, Lando's Smoke Grenade has a much more limited use, as things usually take place in close quarter situations, but a Smoke Grenade can be extremely useful when trying to lose incoming enemies. If you're anything like me, 90% of your teammates will be completely useless, and you'll find yourself in 4v1 situations constantly as your team all somehow manages to die instantly. Whenever that happens and my Disabler is recharging, I throw down a Smoke Grenade like Harry Houdini and roll away to make my escape and meet back up with them. Next up, we have Lando's Disabler, and this is definitely his standout ability, especially in Heroes vs Villains. Lando throws down a sticky grenade which reveals all nearby enemies and scrambles their radar. This essentially gives you wall hacks and takes you and your entire team off the enemy radar, and if that weren't good enough, once detonated, which can be either done manually or will auto-detonate after a set amount of time, the Disabler will shock any enemies within its rather large blast radius. This leaves your enemy completely defenseless and is more than enough time to kill even the strongest of heroes. Lando's Disabler is one of the strongest abilities in the game and can be very frustrating for the enemy team. My recommendation in Heroes vs Villains would be to save your Disabler until you have enough enemies closing in on you, and then toss it and detonate it immediately. If you have a quick enough trigger finger and can perform a successful cooling flush, you shouldn't have a problem taking out one or two enemy heroes before the stun wears off. In other game modes, the Disabler is much more useful to throw in at choke points to allow you to see all incoming enemies and completely disrupt their radars. If things get a little messy, detonate the charge and quickly take out any incoming enemies. As previously mentioned, Lando is of course equipped with his X8 Night Sniper, returning from Battlefront 2015. His blaster is equipped with a thermal scope which allows you to easily see through smoke and Dioxis grenades when aiming down sight. The X8 Night Sniper deals 40 damage up close and drops off to 20 damage at 40 meters, which is a little odd considering that this blaster is supposedly a sniper. Lando's blaster can be fired 15 times before overheating and needing to be flushed, and has an RPM of 210, which is very quick. It can melt heroes in seconds when accurate. His blaster is excellent for pestering enemies across the map when they have no chance of dealing damage to you, but really shines when enemies are already engaged with another hero, as you can quickly melt any hero who is unable to dodge your shots. Lando's final ability is his Sharp Shot, and this is pretty much Greedo's Sharp Shot from Battlefront 2015. Once activated, anyone within the range of Sharp Shot will be targeted, and once reactivated, Lando will send out a flurry of shots against each enemy, killing most infantry in one shot and dealing massive damage to any heroes. Activating Sharp Shot does take a significant amount of time, and if you are hit while activating it, it will be disabled and need to recharge, so be extremely careful before attempting to use it. I find this ability is extremely strong in HVV, as coming up behind a team of heroes and activating this can deal massive damage to all four heroes at once, and I've even managed to pull off a triple hero kill with Sharp Shot. In game modes like Galactic Assault, the Sharp Shot can be somewhat risky to use, and oftentimes you'd be much better off just quickly taking them out with your X8 Sniper. The Sharp Shot can only target up to 5 enemies at a time, and its range is rather limited. Combining this with the amount of time it takes to prime, you often find yourself getting blasted by infantry that are way out of your range. In certain situations, this ability can be a godsend, but its limited range makes this a high risk, high reward ability that can be a game changer when used correctly. Now that we've covered Lando's basics and abilities, let's move on to his star cards. So far, I have put most of my crafting parts into upgrading Boba Fett and Darth Vader, but I definitely have played Lando enough to know which star cards will improve his overall capabilities the best for you. The first star card that I cannot recommend enough is Hot and Cold. This star card increases Lando's base maximum health and is an absolute godsend. At first, it only adds 50 HP, bringing you up to a total of 700 HP, but once upgraded to the epic rarity, it will take Lando up to a massive 800 health, which gives him more health than any light side hero currently in the game, and only 100 less HP than Darth Vader. Lando can feel like a bit of a glass cannon at first, but this card can make him much more of a tank and allow him to withstand many more hits. Next up, we have Quick Shock, which I have crafted for HVV alone, and I feel this is one of the most useful star cards for that game mode. This gives Lando's Disabler a stronger explosion that lasts for a longer duration and starts out as a 15% boost, but can be upgraded to 30% once it's epic. This gives you a significantly longer duration to take out incoming enemy heroes and finish them off before the shock effect wears off. But if you're more of a Galactic Assault type of player, Disabler Lifetime is definitely the star card for you. This star card is actually a little ridiculous and can increase the duration your Disabler will stick around by up to 15 seconds, nearly doubling its total lifespan. This will allow you to see incoming enemies through walls for a longer duration of time and will scramble their radar for even longer. If I weren't primarily an HVV player, this would definitely be my go-to star card. Finally, we have Wide-Eyed, and this is an excellent star card for Lando and one that will definitely help out immensely in any game mode. This card increases Lando's sharp shot range by 40% once maxed out, and I have yet to use this card, but a 40% increase will definitely make Lando's sharp shot a much less risky ability to use. If you don't have the crafting parts and your crates aren't being too kind to you, Lando definitely doesn't need these buffs to make him effective, and any star cards are definitely better than none, so if you don't have any of these, be sure to equip any Lando card that you may have. Now that we've covered all of Lando's abilities, let's move on to strategy. At this point, it should be very clear that Lando is not a hero you want to be too aggressive with, but with that being said, playing too passively can really be a detriment to you and your teammates. The best way to use Lando in modes like HVV is to stay slightly behind your team and go to town on enemies once they've engaged in saber fights. Use your smoke grenades to hide from your opponent's line of sight, and save your Disabler in case things get really messy. Lando's Sharpshooter should always be used when available if enemies are in range, as there's no real reason to save it. I found while playing HVV that my teammates seem to really enjoy instantly dying and leaving me in the middle of 4 villains, and when this happens, the best thing you can do is dodge roll away as fast as you can and leave your Disabler behind you to slow down your enemies and make your escape. If a quick hero catches up to you, it's not always the end of the world. As long as your aim is somewhat decent and you can effectively sidestep at least a few of their attacks, it's actually quite easy to kill heroes like Darth Maul and Kylo with just your X8 sniper. Where you'll really struggle is against Kylo's freeze and really any ability that can stun Lando, as he can be taken out quite quickly when he's at his base HP. My suggestion is to do your best to stun any heroes before they can stun you, and try to make it back to your team before you go out the same way they did. It is also very important to note that Lando's Sharpshot is one of the few things in this game that can disable Boba Fett's jetpack. Sometimes it can be quite infuriating having Boba Fett as the target flying above you and playing very passively, but if he flies a little too low, Lando can bring him crashing to the ground. I've heard a lot of complaints saying Lando just doesn't hold up in HVV, and I couldn't disagree more. He is very strong and is devastating in the right hands. He does rely on his shock grenade in a lot of situations, but a smart player will wait until the correct time to use it and manage their cooldowns well. Situational awareness, managing your cooldowns are probably the two biggest things with Lando, as getting caught off guard is not a good look for him. He will instantly die if you aren't completely aware of what's going down. In modes like Galactic Assault, Lando is without a doubt one of the strongest light side heroes in the game. Locking down objectives is extremely easy, as your Disabler allows you to anticipate your enemy's every move and completely blind them to yours. His X8 sniper combined with his smoke grenade allows you to pick off faraway foes, and his sharp shot can be a force to be reckoned with if timed correctly. Overall, Lando is great. He's probably my favorite current hero in HVV, and he's one of the only things in this game that really improved over the last in terms of heroes. Like, a lot of the heroes I feel like have gotten slightly worse. Lando is definitely better. I mean, his 2015 counterpart was one of the worst heroes in the game once they patched his glitch, but his counterpart here, he is amazing in this game. I really love them, and the only thing that disappoints me is that DICE haven't put in a yeehaw emote yet, as that was probably the best thing about his 2015 counterpart. Guys, that is going to do it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to hit the like button, as that really helps me out. And if you're a fan of Star Wars Battlefront, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I have been enjoying this game so much, and I look forward to helping you guys dominate the Battlefront. If you get to this part of the video, comment down below who your favorite hero is in BF2. I would be extremely curious to know which one you think is the best. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.